Right now, it's time to go to film school with my good friend, film study professor Joe Fortunato. As we'll go back in time and look at one of my favorite action flicks. Some say it's a Christmas flick. I say no, but others do. He's going to look at Die Hard today. Joe, good morning. Take it from there, my friend.
Good morning, Ray. Good morning, everybody. Yes, today we are celebrating the 35th anniversary of one of the best action movies of all time, Die Hard, which was released July 20th, 1988. It's directed by John McTiernan, written by Stephen D'Souza, and it stars, of course, Bruce Willis, as well as Bonnie Bedelia, Reginald Johnson, and the late, great Alan Rickman. It was nominated for 4 Oscars, mostly in tech categories: sound, editing, sound effects, visual effects. It was the famous line, "Yippee-ki-yay, blankety blank," was voted as the 96th greatest movie line of all time by Premiere Magazine. And Bruce Willis has called it his favorite role as John McClane. And, of course, he's done it many times. There was many, many sequels to this. When this movie came out, it really generated what we call in Hollywood a cycle. Kind of like talked about Big a few weeks ago, a number of copycat movies. So there was a formula of one man trapped in an enclosed location fighting off bad guys, terrorists, whatever. People would come in and pitch movies. Oh, it's Die Hard in a boat. It's Die Hard in a plane. and that went on for a long time. So it was a very influential film because of its success. Now, Bruce Willis was mainly known for playing comedic roles at the time. He was starring on Moonlighting. He was a TV star, the TV show Moonlighting at the time. And when the trailers first came out for this film, audiences were laughing, thinking, hey, this must be a comedy because it's got Bruce Willis in it. So for a brief time, Bruce Willis's face was removed from the posters, the movie posters, to prevent people thinking it was a comedy. Once the movie came out and it was a positive response, they put his face back on there. In fact, if it weren't for Moonlighting, he might not have been able to do this because he was, tied up in a contract with Moonlighting. But at that particular time, his co-star, Sybil Shepherd, got pregnant. So they had to shut down for about 11 weeks or so, the production of Moonlighting. So in that time, he was able to do Die Hard. And so it's, kind of lucky that came about. And originally, the character of John McClane was supposed to be sort of another one of these 80s, superhero action stars like Schwarzenegger or Stallone with the beefed up muscles and stuff. And when they cast Bruce Willis, they wanted to make him sort of an everyman, a regular guy who's just trying to do his best in the situation.
Well, and I think you're exactly right, Joe. It really propelled Bruce Willis to the next stage of his career, right? Because Moonlighting, like you said, was a rom-com, and then all of a sudden Die Hard, and then those action movies. Boy, Bruce Willis was all over the place right after Die Hard. Yeah, I mean, he, at this point, he's a movie star now, and of course he had a successful career in a lot of other movies, but he did, I can't remember if it's now 4 or 5 sequels to Die Hard, and it was a big part. He was actually paid an astounding $5 million at the time to do this film, so that's a pretty good paycheck for a TV guy making the transition to film. We always like to talk about casting, and one interesting thing is that Clint Eastwood originally owned the rights to the novel. This was actually based on a novel, believe it or not. And he was planning to star in the film in the early 80s, and that eventually didn't happen. Some other fun casting things. Star Trek fans may know George Takei, who is Sulu. He wanted to play Takagi in the film, and Takai's agent got things mixed up, and he couldn't do it. So it was all his agent's fault, or else we'd have Sulu in the film. Jack Lemmon, believe it or not, and I find this almost hard to believe. He really lobbied hard for the role of John McClane, but producers, I think wisely, said, no, he's just too old. And Alan Rickman, this was his first film, and he nearly passed up on the role of Hans Gruber
because he'd arrived in Hollywood only a couple days before, and he didn't really like the idea of his first role being the villain in an action film. He thought he might get typecast, and he kind of was for a while. Of course, he was also villainous in the Harry Potter movies, but I think now that role in Harry Potter may have eclipsed, or at least is on par with his Hans Gruber character, which many people often consider one of the best villains in movie history.
I agree with that. Hans Gruber was terrific. Die Hard, 1988. We go to film school each and every Friday with our good friend Joe Fortunato, film study professor. My friend Joe, great job. Love the movie. We'll do it again next Friday. Thanks for the visit, Joe.
Sounds good. Goodbye, everybody.
All right, 20 minutes after 8 o'clock.